Sorry, what was that?
Is there a delay in my
No, no, it's good.
Is it low? Is the volume low?
No, that's perfect. Yeah, I think it's good.
Okay.
Can you hear me well? Is there a delay?
Yeah.
Shall we kick off?
Yeah, we can.
Okay. Krishna, Tejasvi, welcome back to. It's weird to call this a podcast episode because I'm not really talking about you specifically. We're talking about something new. Just for the listeners to give a background, Krishna Tejasvi was on the show previously. He was representing, when he was here for the first time, he is the same, but he's the lead singer. And can I call you co-founder? I think everyone from the band is a founder of the band, right? As it evolves. Yeah, so co-founder of the Telugu band, the famous Telugu band Jammers, that you must definitely have heard of. So welcome back.
Should thank you for accepting to do this for us.
No, as always, it's an honor to have any kind of conversation with you. Today, we're going to be doing something special. It's an honor to talk about a new project that you and the band has been working behind, and it's finally out there in the world. I don't know if you feel like it's your little baby, like how a mother feels, setting it into the world. So we're talking about the Jammers' original album, which is out on Spotify and other music platforms, I believe. And we're here talking about the behind the scenes, how it all happened, the magic that you are creating, and how you're feeling about the album finally being out there after so long.
The band is feeling, honestly, after the release for a couple of days, we were feeling very relieved, to say the
Right.
least. It's very hard to promote the album and make sure it reaches as many people as possible. For people who do not know, the album is called Diary. And yeah, there are 5 songs in it. One, of course, Toliadu we put out long ago, and we put out another 4 songs from the same album. And the idea was to release all the songs at a time, so because they are about different phases of life. So we worked really hard on promoting the album. So right now, we are just looking to, find opportunities to perform those
Right.
songs.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, it's completely different from what the band is used to or comfortable doing on, performing on stage, right? Marketing and promoting and all of that. Has it been difficult to transition and, to make sure that this band, the album reaches a larger audience because you put in a lot of hard work and it's not about, getting back the amount of hard work you put in it. It's just also about making sure that the people enjoy listening to each one of these songs, right? How easy or difficult has this been?
No, it was surely not easy, I would say, but at the same time, I got to know a lot about marketing, a lot about stuff that generally I don't put a lot of focus into, because I'm generally, not just me, but all of us in the band are mostly used to just talking about music, and trying to explore music and stuff like that. But honestly, the easiest part in the whole process was making music,
Yeah.
and everything was so much fun. But
Yeah.
everything other than that, recording videos, recording a documentary sort of thing about behind the scenes, and promoting it, reaching out to the right people, and how do we do that? So all of that was the more difficult part, but
Yeah.
sure, enjoyed a lot, working towards promoting the album.
Right.
So it was so much fun.
It's still a long way to go, right? Because right now it's just the audio out there. I'm sure you want to release music videos individually for each and every one. And like you said, being behind, or being behind a mic on the stage behind an instrument was probably much easier than doing, talking about it, facing people and, doing these interviews.
So we've got around 10,000 streams now on
Yeah.
for the album right now. And I mean, honestly, while we were promoting this also, we did not have any figure in mind as to, this is where we want to reach and all of that. Our only aim was to touch as many people as possible. So while we were making the album also, I was only thinking that these songs are about different phases of life, right? So definitely these are not, ఇప్పుడు 5 పాటలు చేస్తే 5 అందరికీ ఈక్వల్ గా నచ్చుతాయనే rule em లేదు. It was basically that, for example, how you spoke about Toli Adugu,
Yeah.
while we last podcast, I remember how much you got connected to Toli Adugu because you were going through that particular phase, right?
Yeah.
So all these five songs are relevant to certain section of people, and
Yeah.
all the five songs are not for the same person, essentially. If
Right.
you talk lyrically, or even with respect to the vibe that we wanted to create with each song, right?
Right.
So we were not sure of which song is going to reach to more people, which song
Right.
is not, and so that was not the thought process, honestly.
Okay. Okay.
Intentions were, we wanted to be very honest in our intentions, and when we are making songs, we wanted to make sure that we are authentically talking about that particular phase, and not adding elements to commercialize it or to make it more reachable to people or something of that sort.
Right, right. We keep saying songs, songs. It's disrespectful to not, say the name of the songs yet. So if you can do the honor of telling us what are the five songs and if there is any chronological order to it in this album.
Yeah, so Toli Adugu is number one.
Okay.
Talks about birth and childhood. uh, Sneham is the second song. It's about friendships and college life.
Yeah.
uh, Prema is the third song. It's about first love. Pelli is the fourth song. It's about marriage, but it's a very different take on marriage. We'll talk more about it. I think I'll have the most to talk about that song.
Okay, sure.
And the last song is called Tudi Malupu.
Okay.
That is basically looking back at life and trying to retrospect. It's a very retrospective tone where
Okay.
we are all the ups and downs in each phase of life.
So yeah, like you said, the like for the listeners or for the audience, like it was easy for us to, choose a favorite or, something that we relate to because we can only be Uh, yeah, we can be in multiple phases at the same time, but still it was easy for us to choose one favorite. How difficult was it for the band to give 100% to each song as you work, on it? Because you might not be in that phase of life, right? No, I don't know if any one of the band members is married yet, so I don't know if those emotions,
If you ask me, I was in no place to relate with any of the phases, honestly. Obviously, the first song, Pelli and Tudimalpu, definitely out of equation.
Yeah.
Uh, Prema also out of equation. But even Sneham, I would say it was more from the college life and from that perspective. So I might have gone through it at some point of time, but I am at this point I couldn't relate to what I was doing. But that's what that's the challenging and the most interesting part, in a musician's
Right.
life. Even
Right.
when I'm hours on stage with jammers, I have to sing about a breakup, and and a steamy romantic song, one after the other sometimes. And then
Right.
I have justice to both of them in the span of like 10 minutes. So
Yeah.
I need very, very adaptive as a singer, and applies to all the musicians also in the band.
Right.
So working on the songs, also I was trying to get into a bubble, where
Okay.
especially not before when I was singing, it was actually easier because there are lyrics, and
Oh,
it's easier for me to relate to the lyrics. But when I had to give a brief to the lyricist, that's when I used to get into a bubble, and I used to like go away from my phone for a bit.
yeah.
Um, for a couple of hours, I used to just think of, in the same studio but without lights, so it used to be
Right.
very dark. I'm just
Wow.
thinking of all that might be, that might be apt for that tune and
Right.
all of that. While making melodies, mostly Naren had worked on the initial parts of the song, like making the arrangements and all of that. So when he comes up with an idea, all of us worked on a tune and something like that. But when the lyrics were to be written, I had to give a brief to Srirag, the lyricist who wrote all the songs so beautifully. We'll
Wow.
talk about it also.
Yeah.
But that's actually when I used to feel most challenging, to be
Right.
honest, because I had to get into a zone of, I had to be a, college going student at one point. I had to be a person who's falling in love for the first time, I had to be a woman who is going to get married, you
Mhm.
know. And then, of course, the last phase was slightly easier because all of us go through retrospections at different phases of life while we are thinking of what what has gone right, what could have we done better, and something like that. So that was slightly easier, I would say. But all the other songs were surely very, very challenging to ideate.
Right. I'm asking this because I also want this episode or conversation to be kind of like a 101 for people out there who probably want to create their own music. We all have those apps on our phone which have like 4 or 5 lines of our thoughts, but they don't know how to put it out there. Sometimes it comes out in the form of poetry, but not really like a song, right? So that's why I want to also make sure this is a 101 for such people out there.
Yeah.
So does the band feel much more confident about themselves as musicians, like we talked about, now that you have more of your own original songs? uh what do you have to say about that, feeling confident now?
Yeah. Surely we are, all of us are much more confident now.
Yeah.
But the thing is that in the days to come, couple of things that I can promise is that all of us are going to be actively involved in making music. Like, so
Okay.
now it's all like we were mostly clueless all the, throughout the journey because ఎట్లా ఏం చేయాలి ఎలా చేస్తే ఏమవుతుంది అనే దాని మీద మాకు we didn't have a
Oh,
lot of clarity. But now after the process is done, now our bassy is going to come up with an original which for jammers, and
okay.
Anna is going to come up with another original. So we are going to put out a lot of singles because we understand how the process works, and we have a better idea. That's one thing I can promise. The other thing is that the next album, I can't say the next how the next single is going to be, but the next album is going to be very different from this.
Right.
You will not be able to relate to this album anymore when we come up with the next album. So that is Naren's thought process. He believes that we shouldn't stick to one genre of music, or one. People should not be saying that, oh, this is typical jammer style, this is
Right.
typical 80s style or something like that. So he wants us to sound very different from album to album. So that's one thing that I can promise. And all of this is because we feel more confident than before. So
Right, right. For your voice, I will definitely say these kind of songs are something they would have expected, the emotion. But this is not Jammer's like first time doing the original song, right? You did something before, but little, shorter version of songs. But like Walalo, that was completely.
Alulu was a very different song.
Exactly right. If people listen to that, they will confused about what exactly Jammer's genre is, because that's a completely different song, right? I had a question about the phases of life that you talked about in this album. Why these phases only? Because there are other phases as well, right? Like the few things that come to my mind are breakup, right? Those kind of things that are not really touched. I don't know if there's any sentence or a word that talks about it in these songs, but what was the, I think this goes back to the lyricist, right? Was it his little baby, he wanted these 4 lives in or 5 lives in this project? How did you come down to these chapters?
uh Definitely the phases we have only selected the phases.
Okay, okay.
There's a lot of Sridhar's contribution in terms of adding life to those phases,
Right.
but choice of phases was definitely ours. Um, on In fact, we had a breakup song when we decided to do this album, but what we thought was to make this album as positive as possible.
Hmm.
So that was there in the mind from the time we wrote Toli Adugu. So Toli Adugulo last line, తడబడి పడుతూ నిలబడి ఎగిరే చిరు చిరు అడుగులే రేపటి భయం కనవు అని ఉంటుంది.
అవును.
ఓకే. సో దట్ మీన్స్ రేపటి గురించి భయం తెలియకుండా వాళ్ళు దే ఆర్ వెరీ కేర్ ఫ్రీ, అండ్ దే డోంట్ హ్యావ్ ద ఫియర్ ఆఫ్ టుమారో. So that's like a hope, right? So every song we wanted to end it with a positivity.
Right. Right.
So, so that's when we thought, when we want to do the other four songs, we wanted to surely do one about college and friendships, one about love, and one was, resolutions. So that was for sure. But Pelli Cheddama, Breakup Cheddama anedi was the confusion that we've had.
Yeah.
But we chose to do a Pelli Pata
Yeah.
rather than a breakup song because we wanted to keep all of this album as breezy as possible and as positive as possible. And
Right.
I don't regret that at all because Pelli is, I'm very biased towards that song in the album. So I feel that we chose Pelli over breakup. But like you said, there are so many other phases also we could have covered. But on a very broad scale, if we look at life, I thought these, things,
Milestones.
correct. These are the major milestones, I feel.
Yeah. Yeah.
Uh, But like you said, in Tudi Malupu, the last song, there are a couple of lines which talk about, all the phases of,
Okay.
you I'll just sing a couple of lines if it's.
Yes.
దారే చే నడబాటులు వేగం మంతా పోయిందా పేరే లేని దిగులే ముల్లై గాయాలేవో చేసిందా. So the next lines of the song are స్నేహం కూడా రూపం మారే మోసం అయిందా లోకం చూసే చూపుల్లోనే చూపే ఆగిందా ప్రాణం పోసే ప్రేమల్లే ఓ ప్రేమే చేరిందా ఎంతో దూరం రాకుండానే వేరైపోయిందా. So this line is about breakup.
Yeah.
ప్రాణం పోసే ప్రేమల్లే ఒక అంటే ప్రాణం పోసేలాగానే అనిపించేది కూడా ఎంతో దూరం రాకుండానే అది కూడా వేరైపోయిందా. అండ్
Right.
దెన్ కళ్ళే కలిసిన ఊసే సారీ కళ్ళే తడిపిన ఊసే ఇల్లే విడిచిన రోజే. దిస్ ఈస్ అబౌట్ ద ఫీమేల్.
Okay.
యునో కళ్ళే తడిపిన ఊసే ఇల్లే విడిచిన రోజే. అంటే
Yeah.
అమ్మాయి ఇల్లు ఇల్లు వదిలేసిన రోజు అమ్మాయి కళ్ళలో నీళ్ళు వచ్చాయా.
Right.
నెక్స్ట్ లైన్ ఇస్ అబౌట్ ద గై. కళ్ళే కలలను వీడే ఇల్లే నడిపిన నాడే. So when he starts running the home, when he goes after making money, after when being responsible, వాడి కళలను వదిలేయాల్సి వస్తుంది. Most
Right.
of the people, like for example you, about how you to not take drumming seriously when you had to choose between
Right.
your career and something like that. So all of us have such things in life, right? So we kind of covered all the phases in the last song, uh, but we chose to do these 5 phases and keep the album as positive as possible.
Well, as much as you tried, and I'm so happy, and I'm having a fan moment that you sang this first because this is uh Toli Adugu is my favorite too, but this is also a favorite. So yeah, thank you for singing this one. But actually, one of my favorite lines from this is I don't know if you can sing that one too, the last line, which happens when you think the song is done. You have one more line at the end, right? If you can sing that part for us.
దాటే మలుపుల్లో మళ్ళీ పడి లేచే ఆటే కఠినంగా మలిచుందాయదనంతా మారే కలలన్నీ ఈనాటి వెలుగుల్నే చేరే కథలై గురుతుల్లా నిలిచాయే ప్రాణం పోయే రోజే ఏదో చూసే వీలుందా కథ అంతమయ్యేలోగా పూర్తయ్యా.
Wow, goosebumps. This is my favorite.
Behind this line, So this is basically the story of a guy or a girl. A girl, I would be biased,
Okay.
a girl who's writing a diary, and this has to be the last page of her diary. So I wanted Srirag to write something that is incomplete, right? Because when you are writing a diary, you wouldn't know that you're going to die tomorrow.
Right.
So it has to be incomplete.
Yeah, it's
But
sort of like a cliffhanger. I don't know if
yeah,
this will be part two of the diary because it feels like there's a continuation of it.
but there can't be a part two because this is the last line, right?
Yeah.
You're just retrospecting about everything. So I wanted him to make sure that that last line is incomplete, but he him being an ardent Sitaram Shastri Gari fan, and Sitaram Shastri Garu always believed in positivity. He
Okay.
never believes in, you know, you would have heard a lot of his songs, but not knowing that they are his songs. For example, Akasham Takela Vadagalai. Yeah, something like that. You would see a lot of positivity in his writing. So he chose to he chose to write something positive, but that sounds incomplete as well.
Right.
It's interpretation. So that's what he writes. ప్రాణం పోయే రోజే ఏదో చూసే వీలుందా కథ అంతమయ్యేలోగా పూర్తయ్యా అని చెప్పి. సో
Mhm.
పూర్తవడం అంటే కంప్లీట్ అవ్వడం కూడా. ఇట్స్
Right.
నాట్ ఫినిష్ అవ్వడం లాగే కాదు. పూర్తవడం అంటే కంప్లీట్ అవ్వడం కూడా. సో వాట్ హీ మెంట్ టు రైట్ వాజ్ దట్ he lived a complete life.
Okay.
He has all. He has lived a complete life. So now there's nothing much that he wants to see in life. He's written about everything. వాడి కళలను వదులుకోవడం గురించి, వాడి స్నేహాల గురించి, వాడి ప్రేమల గురించి, యూనో వాడు నేర్చుకున్న లెసన్స్ గురించి అన్నీ రాసి రేపు పొద్దున్న చచ్చిపోతామో లేదో మనకు తెలియదు కానీ ఈ లోపే నేను మాత్రం ఐఎమ్ కంటెంటెడ్ విత్ మై లైఫ్ అన్నట్టు అనమాట. బట్ ఇన్ అనదర్ వే యూ కెన్ ఆల్సో సే దట్ రేపటి రోజు చచ్చిపోతామో లేదో మనకు తెలియదు, అందుకే రేపటి కథ ఏంటో తెలిసే లోపే, అంటే రేపు ఏం జరగబోతుందో తెలిసే లోపే నేను ఐ హావ్ లివ్డ్ మై లైఫ్ అన్నట్టు కూడా యూ కెన్ సీ దట్. సో దట్స్ ఆల్సో
Beautiful. It actually reminds me of a quote that I don't remember properly. Like, do you want to live like a long life, or how you said you want to live life enough that you've experienced everything that it has to offer?
correct.
Yeah, very beautiful. So this gave me a warning saying we have 10 minutes. How about we
Oh,
start another session? Is that okay? I'll send you a new link.
sure.
Okay, thank you.
I make it.
Yes. Okay, sure. Yeah. Okay, let's do this.
Surprisingly, Tudi Malupu is the least heard song, and then Sneham, of course. So, what? I think the idea behind Sneham was to make a proper rock song.
Okay.
We thought that we have see all the other songs we had a story in mind and everything, but for Sneham we wanted, like you said, it to be crazy and very um very band style of a song or something like that. You-
Carefree.
Correct.
Yeah.
And Sneham was the last song that we composed in the album.
Mm,
All the other four, and Sneham was left. So we did Sneham at the end. So we thought we should give it something for people who understand music, you know,
okay.
something for them to enjoy, So we did a couple of, when it comes to the guitar riffs or, even in the BGM, there's something, I'm sorry. Even in the BGM, there's a scale change and then it comes back to
Right.
some other and something like that. So we did all those musical things that we wanted to do in Sneham, because all the other songs we wanted them to be lyric oriented, very theme based and stuff like that. But
Right.
Sneham, unfortunately, I think it's our bad only, that we could not make a tune that will let people hear the lyrics so well. But even with Sneham, the lyrics are so beautifully written by Srirag. It's about how we give too much emphasis to studies and education while we don't, you know, while college is also a place where we can focus on understanding who we really are, what we really like, and stuff like that. So it talks about all those things also, but for some reason, I think that which we could not exactly convey to the people. But a lot of musicians who heard the album liked Sneham more than the other four songs. But of
Right.
course, including me, all the people who listen to music for entertainment or for solace or for anything like that, I think Sneham is a song that you might not connect with a lot. Yeah.
Right. Can we hear a little bit from Sneham? And I think it's sort of I relate to it as a rock on song or
Yeah,
a
yeah, yeah.
star
No,
movie. Yeah.
So we kind of so that was one of the major ideas. We wanted to make a song that can be sung by everybody, and that's like a very easy go lucky song, and which
Right.
has given
Right.
that. So yeah, I'll just sing.
And I was thinking while you were telling me this, there's so many other things that need to work out for a song to work out, right? Because, for example, I don't I'm not saying you disrespected by recording it last and you might not have had the same energy or the commitment or something like that. But even Spotify, when I open the album, what is the first few songs, right? I'm gonna listen to those. And I'm already setting my bar high. Once
Yeah.
I once they don't hit that bar, the other songs, then they don't get as much justice, right? So
With Prema, so we did a listening party for the album at Moonshine, where we one day before the album released, and we called all the indie artists. We called
okay,
Ram Miriala, we called all the other bands, and Damini, and at the same time we called people from Spotify and Red FM and everywhere also.
okay.
So they liked Prema more. So they put Prema as the cover photo of Telugu indie playlist, and they put Prema as the first song in the Telugu indie play Spotify edited playlist.
Okay.
And Prema, it's got the most number of streams on Spotify. So
Wow.
like you said, there are so many factors. Had they liked Sneham more, Sneham would have got
Reached.
it all. So I'm not blaming anybody or saying
Yeah,
something like that.
yeah.
A lot of things, including,
Right,
I mean, very honest, even Sneham is not my most favorite song also. I'm not saying that I don't like Sneham,
right,
but um, I put in a lot of effort while composing and everything also. But when as it turned out, when we heard all the songs, I feel Sneham was not my most favorite song. Yeah. So
right.
anyway, I'll sing a couple of lines. ప్రతి ఉదయం తలంచేసి చదువును మోసే పని లేదని తెలిపేను యౌవనం చదువిపుడయ్యే వాహనం కల కనడం తెలుస్తున్న కనులకు దారే దొరికిందని విడువగ పంజరం కళైక ఇంధనం స్నేహం ఓ బలం చేయి విడువకు పొందే అనుభవం నీవు మరువకు ఈ గురుతులే నింపుకుంటూ పదా నీ గుండెలోనే మలుపులెదురైనా నీ కలను విడువక ఏ భయము ఎదురైనా ఆటలే తలచి నిలబడితే పోదా.
I see it. I see it, but I probably have to hear it in a different mood or something like that, right?
So when you hear it first, so you'll only hear the guitars and the full drums and everything.
Yeah.
But when you hear only the lyrics, then you'll feel, oh, there's something in there.
No, like you said, the lyrics are definitely powerful. And you said Srirag gave his, the lyrics to all the songs, you said?
He's such a good lyricist, and he understands the idea that we want to convey as a band so well that he adds so much to it while
Right.
it is
Right.
He's not talking something out of our idea, or something that we have not thought of. But మేము చెప్పాలనుకున్న ఐడియానే శ్రీరాగ్ చాలా బ్యూటిఫుల్ గా దానికి చాలా ఎడిషన్స్ చేస్తూ బ్యూటిఫుల్ మెటఫర్స్ వాడుతూ దాన్ని ఎంతో అద్భుతంగా చెప్పగలుగుతున్నాడు. అండ్ ఇన్ ఆల్ ది సాంగ్స్ ఇట్స్ సో బ్యూటిఫుల్లీ డన్. యా.
Can you give us a little example just so that people understand how it works? Like, how do you explain your thoughts, right? How do you
Yeah, so we'll talk about Pelli as an
yeah,
example.
yeah.
Pelli is so when I did Pelli, or I am not married, so there are songs like Mate Mantramu, Manase Bandhamu, Idi Kalyanam, Kamaniyam, Jeevitam, songs like that which romanticize marriage so much, right? But I don't relate with that emotion, honestly.
Right.
Did the song, I don't want to fake anything, right? And say something that we don't believe in. So when the song was made, it was a very soothing song, so I was thinking, what can we do? And like I said, when I went into that bubble and was thinking about what is it that I relate to in a marriage, that's when the the thought of the thought of Pelli struck me. So we wanted to make a song from a female's point of view,
Okay.
marriage. So it's nothing about a guy. A guy has no role in the whole song. Only there's one line where you write about the relationship between both of them after marriage. The honeymoon period of a marriage. So only that is there, but it's everything else is from a mother's point of view. Mother, I mean, I'm talking about my I
Right,
I
right.
I thought of my mother when we were doing this song, but it's from a female's point of view. So when the song was made, my thought is this. So I would call Srirag and I would tell that ఇట్లా మనం ఒక అమ్మాయి పాయింట్ ఆఫ్ వ్యూలో మనం ఒక పాట చేయాలి అంటే, ఏం మాట్లాడాలి అమ్మాయి పాయింట్ ఆఫ్ వ్యూలో అంటే నేనేం చెప్తాను, ఐవ్ సీన్ అ లాట్ ఆఫ్ మై ఫ్రెండ్స్ గెట్ మ్యారీడ్, అండ్
Right.
ఇట్స్ లవ్ మ్యారేజ్ ఆర్ ఎన్ అరేంజ్డ్ మ్యారేజ్, మోస్ట్ ఆఫ్ దెమ్ హ్యావ్ అన్ యాంగ్జైటీ బిఫోర్ మ్యారేజ్, స్పెషలీ గర్ల్స్, దట్ లైఫ్ ఎలా ఉండబోతుందో, మనం ఒక వేరే ఇంటికి వెళ్ళాలి, వీ హ్యావ్ టు అప్పటిదాకా వాడు మనకు తెలిసిన వాడే అయినా కానీ ఇట్స్ డిఫరెంట్, రైట్? యూర్ గెటింగ్ ఇన్ టు సంథింగ్ బిగ్గర్. అండ్ సో దాన్ని మనం ఆ యాంగ్జైటీ అంటే పెళ్ళికి ముందు ఉండే యాంగ్జైటీ, బట్ హౌ దే ఆర్ ఆల్సో లుకింగ్ ఫార్వర్డ్ టు ఇట్.
Right.
ఆ యాంగ్జైటీ గురించి వాళ్ళు వాళ్ళకి వాళ్ళే సర్ది చెప్పుకుంటారు దట్ ఇట్స్ ఆల్ గోయింగ్ టు బి ఓకే, అందరు ఇలానే ఫీల్ అవుతారు, బట్ టుమారో ఇస్ గోయింగ్ టు బి బ్రైట్, ఇట్స్ ఆల్ ఫైన్ అని చెప్పి.
Right.
అండ్ వాట్ ఆర్ యాంగ్జైటీ ఇస్ అబౌట్, అలాంటి విషయాలు. ఫ్రమ్ దేర్ ఒక కొత్త ఇంటికి వెళ్ళడం, ఇదంతా మా అమ్మ గురించి. ఒక కొత్త ఒక కొత్త ఇంటికి వెళ్ళి అక్కడ మనం ఎలా అడ్జస్ట్ అవుతాం, మనకు ఎవరు అంటే అందరు కొత్త, అక్కడ పద్ధతులు కొత్త, మనం ఎవ్రీథింగ్ మన ఇంట్లో ఉన్నప్పుడు వి లివ్ అ వెరీ వెరీ డిఫరెంట్ లైఫ్, వెరీ
Right.
ఫ్యామిలీ, అంత
Yeah.
రెస్పాన్స్. సో వెళ్ళడం అక్కడ వాళ్ళని చూసుకోవడం, యూ హ్యావ్ ఎ న్యూ సెట్ ఆఫ్ పేరెంట్స్, రైట్?
Yeah.
వాళ్ళని దే కెన్ నెవర్ బి యువర్ పేరెంట్స్, బట్ యూ అండర్స్టాండ్ వాట్ ఐమ్ సేయింగ్, రైట్?
Yeah. Yeah.
వాళ్ళతో అలవాటు పడ్డం. సో అలా అలవాటు పడ్డం, వీటి గురించి రాయాలి, అండ్ లాస్ట్కి her becoming a mother, her having a hope of becoming a mother,
Right.
looking forward to becoming a mother. That's where the song should end. So this is the brief that I would give to Srirag.
Okay.
And then he comes up with the lines, like I'll just sing those lines and
Yes.
just పసివయసుల్లో తెలిసినాటే నిజమై అందంగా ముందుంది నేడే, వెలుగులు తోడై ఒకటవుతూ ఉంటే అడుగులు సన్నాయి రాగాలు పాడే, ఎన్నో ఆశలు కలిసిన ఏవో ఊహలు, సంతోషాలతో మురిసిన ఎన్నో కన్నులు, ఎంతో ప్రేమతో పిలిచిన ఎన్నో గొంతులు, అన్నీ ఉండగా మెరిసెను ప్రాణం నిండుగా, నిజమే ఎదసడిలో ఏ కంగారే ఒక్కసారిగా భయపెడుతుందే, మారే దారే ఇప్పుడే చేరాలా, వేరే పేరే ఎదతో మోయాలా, ఆడే ఈడే ఇకపై మాటేనా, లోకం తీరే మరిచే వీలుందా, ఈ భారం నేడే అంతే, సంతోషం రమ్మంటుంది. దిస్ ఇస్ ద పల్లవి.
Right.
రైట్, దిస్ ఇస్ ఎవ్రీథింగ్ బిఫోర్ మ్యారేజ్.
Mm.
అన్నీ బాగానే ఉన్నాయి, అంటే అన్ని లైట్స్ ఉన్నాయి, అందరు ఆనందంగా ఉన్నారు, అందరూ మంచిగా పిలుస్తున్నారు, అంతా బాగానే ఉంది. కానీ నిజమే ఎదసడిలో ఈ కంగారే ఒక్కసారిగా భయపెడుతోంది. మారే దారే ఇప్పుడే చేరాలా, అంటే అప్పుడే వెళ్ళిపోవాలా వేరే దారిలోకి,
Right.
వేరే పేరు వేయాలా,
Mm.
ఆడే ఈడే ఇకపై మాటేనా, అంటే ఆడుకుంటే తిరిగే వయసు అయిపోయినట్టేనా అప్పుడే,
Mhm.
లోకం మరిచే వీలుందా, అంటే లోకం అందరి మన గురించి పలు రకాలు మాట్లాడుకుంటుంటారు, దాన్ని మర్చిపోయే ఛాన్స్ ఉందా మనకి అని
Right.
వెంట వారం నేడే అంతే, సంతోషం రమ్మంటుంది అని చెప్పి, ఇవాళ
Mm.
ఒక్కరోజే రేపటి అంతా బాగానే ఉంటుందని సర్ది చెప్పుకోడు. దిస్ ఇస్ ద పల్లవి ఆఫ్ ద సాంగ్, రైట్. అండ్ ద చరణం ఈజ్ ఏ కలలో క్షణమన్నా దూరం కానీ ఓ నిజమై ఎదలే కలిసే, ఏ తపనో కునుకన్నా రానీకుండా ఓ తనువై నెలలే గడిచే. సో దిస్ ఇస్ అబౌట్ ద హనీమూన్ పీరియడ్ ఆఫ్
Right.
them, that ఏ కలలో క్షణమన్నా దూరం కానీ ఓ తను ఓ నిజమై ఎదలే కలిసే,
Right.
అంటే ఈ కలలో కూడా మనం ఇద్దరం విడిపోకుండా ఎప్పుడు ఒకటే ఒక నిజంలాగా కలిసి ఉన్నాం మేము, ఏ తపనో కునుకన్నా రానీకుండా ఓ తనువై నెలలే గడిచే. సో దిస్ ఇస్ అబౌట్ ద హనీమూన్ పీరియడ్. అండ్ దెన్ ద నెక్స్ట్ పార్ట్ ఈస్ అబౌట్ టేకింగ్ కేర్ ఆఫ్ ద ఫ్యామిలీ.
Okay.
ఏ పరిగెడుతూ తానే కలుపుకుపోతూ కలిసుంటూ ఇల్లంతా మోసే, వేగంగా కదిలిన కాలంలో ఎదిగిన ఏడే తెలిసే లోపే లోని రూపాలు మారాయిలే,
Mhm.
పసి వయసుల్లో తెలిసినాటే నిజమై అమ్మల్లే మారేటి రోజే ఎదురవుతుంది. సో దిస్ ఇస్ అ సెగ్వే టు హర్ బికమింగ్ అ మదర్. సో దట్స్ వేర్ ద సాంగ్ ఎండ్స్.
It's it's not a very typical Pelli song because it's not only about that's the dhols on the stage of the wedding, right? Yeah, I absolutely agree that it's more about how the girl is feeling than the guy because going through it by myself, years down the lane when we talk about it, it's a completely different point of view, how she was looking at the wedding, the people that came, the how it all went, what kind of, tensions and fears that she might have gone through. So it's it's a kind of like a tribute, I guess, every song to people who are in those phases that okay, we see you, we know what you're feeling, and this is you're not alone, right? Yeah.
I would love to see a couple of photos of yours of your marriage on a reel, something where you can use the audio of, because we recorded Nadaswaram, you know, Sannai,
Okay.
for the song where it's a 1.5 minute long.
Yeah, I can't wait to use it for expressing my love again for her.
Songs because you've been through a phase of being in love and then being married to each other, and then of course Toli Adugu.
Yeah.
And yeah, so one of the one of the people who comes to our gigs very regularly, she used this audio of Pelli on on her wedding reel.
Okay.
And trust me, when I say this, I got very emotional when I saw it, because that's the reason why we made these songs. Because while I was making this, I could really, the other day when we were doing another podcast, and when when Monica had tears while I was singing, I got equally emotional on that day too, because I feel when I was making that song, I could imagine people like you. Uh, Specifically, I can't name that I made this song for this person or something like that, but this is for people who are going through those emotions.
Right.
And there's a song in Ranjana that I heard while I was coming back from college at one point,
Okay.
CBIT loan. It's called Pia Milenge. And then I was in these seven-seater autos, no?
Yeah.
Hyderabad.
Mhm.
Coming back in a seven-seater auto, ముందు డ్రైవర్ పక్కన నేను కూడా అక్కడ కూర్చొని listening to that song Pia Milenge, and then there were a couple of lines in that song about life, जो है जो भी देखा वही देखा तो क्या देखा है అని చెప్పి ఒక లైన్ ఉంటది అనమాట. అంటే నువ్వు చూసిందే లైఫ్ అనుకుంటే ఎట్లా, देखो जो औरों ने ना कभी देखा है.
Right.
నువ్వు చూడు, అవి ఎక్కడ కనిపిస్తాయంటే ఒక్కసారి నువ్వు కళ్ళు నెత్తి మీద పెట్టుకుంటే కనిపించవు, కళ్ళు నేల మీద పెడితే ఎవ్రీథింగ్ విల్ be very clear to you అని చెప్పి ఒక లైన్ ఉంటుంది అనమాట. I heard that song 100 times before that, but I was in the auto and suddenly I don't know what zone I was in, and suddenly I got connected to those lyrics, right?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
this thought was constantly in my head that ఎవరో ఒకళ్ళు ఏదో ఒక రోజున ఏదో ఒక పాయింట్ ఆఫ్ టైంలో ఈ లిరిక్ వింటున్నప్పుడు పెళ్లి పాటల్లో
Mm.
ఈ లైన్ తోటి కనెక్ట్ అయ్యి దే వుడ్ టెల్ మీ, ఆర్ ఈవెన్ ఇఫ్ దే డోంట్ టెల్ మీ, బట్ దే వుడ్, I want them to feel the emotion that I felt while I was sitting in this room alone with all the lights off and thinking about what the song has to be. So I also want people to feel what Srirag felt while he was writing,
Right.
because for a guy who told the idea to another guy who's writing the song about a girl who's going through, a marriage,
Right.
uh, happiness in a marriage, the vulnerability in a marriage, and everything. I want people to feel that. And that's the purpose of making these songs more than the viewership and everything. So while
Right.
we were promoting songs, also, only intention was very honestly to just reach to as many people as possible, not for them to like it or not for them to say that, oh my God, you guys have made some beautiful songs and stuff like that, because
Right.
you never know who will connect to which song. So I just want everybody to hear them, and it's up to them to like or not like the songs.
The song, I think it's called Amma from Life is Beautiful. Uh, I relate to that song differently because Mauni is a mom now, right? And the emotions both of us had to go through. I don't relate it to my mom, but I can relate to it now in a different way. And I listen to it every day because it hits somewhere else. ఎక్కడనో తీసుకెళ్ళిపోతది. And that's how I felt with Tudi Malapu also, that it takes me back and thinks it makes me think about everything that I did in life, the choices I made and those kind of stuff. So I feel like what's missing is half of the people already are connected to your music, but the rest will connect when the music video is out. Maybe like you said, people use these songs in their video reels. And when it's visual, there's a different feeling to it, right? You can relate to it a bit more. The tears that come down, the happiness and the sadness on the face. So I think we should all look forward to the video for these, music songs that will eventually come out. Throughout the conversation, you addressed my eventual question of what's your sankalp with this album? And that's, I guess, let's leave it to the listeners and the musicians and the singers and the lovers of music on how they will receive, the album and the songs. But anything else that you want to give back to the listeners about the album, the projects that might be coming up?
Yeah, like you said, we are going to make a music video, and it's going to start with Prema that we've not spoken about.
Okay.
So a music video, and it's about first love, the innocence of first love and everything. It's
Okay.
it's a great song. Trust me. The video also, we are trying our best to make sure it comes out well, because we didn't want to like hurry and make songs when we are not ready financially and
Right.
all. So we are coming up with something for Prema in the next couple of months at least.
Okay.
So yeah, that's going to come out, and I just want as many people as possible. And I asked you to do this for us also only because whatever listeners you have, I want them also to check out the album and let us know how they feel about diary and
Right.
good, bad, ugly, anything.
So Jammers and Krishna Tejasvi have their Instagram page, a YouTube channel, and obviously their individual profiles on all these platforms. So please make sure to reach out to them, because I made sure to let them know how much these songs have meant to me and Mauni and our little one now. And yeah, good luck to Katie and his team, everyone from the band and the lyricist, and everyone involved in making this happen, because it's a dream project to have your original album out there. So good luck to you for today and all the things that are coming ahead.
Thank you, Sankalp. Thanks a lot.
All right, take care. Thank you so much for your time, Katie.